Hey everyone, we got Duran on first stage together with Reese, and today let's talk about Duran after we talked about Reese yesterday. Truth be told, Duran isn't that good either, and we'll learn why in this review. The overview. So in the base form, Duran is an element trainer, has 4 elements, and he's also a physical tank, albeit not the best one. In Brave Shift, he actually is a limit burst finisher. Sprite looks dope though, so I'll give him that. Because Duran's abilities, especially the abilities, are quite bloated, I thought that it's better just to talk about notable abilities, and this might be something, and passives for that matter, might be something that I will pursue for next reviews as well, because I usually spend most of the time explaining abilities, and I think condensing this is just a better way. Anyway, he's got his physical cover 65 to 80%, so 72-ish%, I believe 72.5 on average, right? Yeah, 72.5 on average. 5k barrier, so this is on par with most of the other near vision tanks. Has 50% earth amp, and he also does have dark, ice and fire imbues with 30% amps, but obviously earth is his best element. The other abilities are also along the lines of ATX modifier. I feel like it's a little bit of a downside that he only imbues himself. Could have been for the entire party, but I guess it's fine. Crimson Vengeance, decreased fire, ice, earth, light, dark resistance 120. Not the greatest, I mean it's still 5 elements, so that's something. Modifiers, not that amazing, 10 and 75x. But enables his World Breaker skill, which is his nuke, so to speak, which gets upgraded even further. I didn't put this on this list because I don't think it's really that great anyway, because his Brave Shifted LB is what you want to use regardless. He also has the Fairy Walnut, which all Trials of Mana units have, and Rage of the Mercenary. 10 turn cooldowns, immediately available. Increases attack for 10 turns, 300%. It's not dispellable, which is a nice thing. Increases all physical attack mods by 20x, except the LB, which they could have included in here. I feel like the unit itself isn't that good anyway, so might as well have the limit burst also included in this, but alas, they didn't. The cool thing though is he also gains 250% LB fill rate for 10 turns, making filling his LB very easy. Now you might have noticed, and I did not leave this out on purpose, he does not have an active provoke. I mean, most units don't really need the active provoke, but it's nice to have it, honestly. So yeah. On the passive side of things, the expected things such as Warring Spirit at EX2, immediately full LB gauge at the start of the battle, and at EX +3 500 static attack. Now what I find good about him is in his passives, as you can see from Young Swordsman and Son of the Golden King, he innately has 300% true single wield defense, and for that matter also 200% true single wield spirit. And this is a theme that is going to continue in his Brave Shift as well, and it also has a huge upside in his Brave Shift. But first, the limit burst, 84 defense break, which doesn't really do much, honestly. It's also the only good thing here is it's a 130% dark resistance in peril to all enemies. I feel like there should have been 135. We got enough 135ers already. But yeah, the modifier at 65x is not good. And it's 8 hits and 40 LB crystals, so not the best. Brave Shift. One thing which I do want to point out, is Triple Slash, Trials of Mana, 50% Dragon, typed mitigation. It also is the 75% damage mitigation he has. Also retains Stone Saber for the 50% amp. So nothing really too special, right? But one thing I do want to point out is the passive side of things. Now, a Young Swordsman, he retains that, but this time it gets, or it also adds 250 true single wield attack. And from the TMR bonus, you get the remaining 150 true single wield attack, meaning if you equip his Trustmaster or Super Trustmaster, you are already capped on true single wield, which is cool. And a Young Swordsman also adds 5x cap, so if you use the Trustmaster plus the Clash of Wills Crown, you easily have 6x cap and true double hand cap immediately, making gearing him very, very easy. Matter of fact, he can easily cap most of the races and comfortably cap limit burst damage, which is a huge upside. On the flip side though, he really needs this, and from his kit, as you can see, he doesn't really sport any relevant LB buff, meaning he really wants that Zidane STMR or the Zidane song to be sung for him, because he innately only has a 150 LB buff for himself, which isn't that good, all things considered. The Brave Shift Limit Burst, 240x, all enemies, single hit, and increases World Breaker, the nuke ability he has, by 100x for two turns. Yeah, I guess, but the Limit Burst still deals more damage, especially if you have Zidane's song. It's a lot more damage gain than World Breaker. The Trustmaster and Super Trustmaster. Trustmaster is an accessory, 50 attack, 30 dark resistance, and 50% attack if you are wearing a sword. It's decent, I'd say. I mean, 50 attack for a Trustmaster isn't that bad, all things considered. And I feel like the added bonus of 50% attack when wearing a sword, which is very common for older units, it's a nice bonus to have. The Super Trustmaster is a two-handed sword with standard sword variants 1.05 to 1.55, 75% Dragon Killer physical and magical, and sports 180 attack, which for two-handed swords is the highest. It also ties with another one, I forgot the name though, but due to it being a sword and having sword variants, the standard sword variants, it is in total rather unimpressive, because Red Sword, which has up to 1.7 variants, is a lot better. And if I'm not totally mistaken, Red Sword starts at 1.4 or 1.5, so the overall variance of Red Sword is so much better. But the 75% Dragon Killer, that's a nice addition in my book. Vision card, I don't think we need to talk a fourth time about this. Still a great card for hybrids. It's good. It's good. Let's move on. Damage calculation. This is the standard stuff, so if you're watching this for the first time, I'd suggest pausing the video, reading through all of this. We are using prior standard DV bosses with 22.5k spirit defense. Now Belladonna just removed that dot, so Belladonna has 225k, 225,000 if I'm not totally mistaken, defense and spirit. But yeah, it's still decent, such that we don't see inflated big numbers. Okay, so this is Duran's build. As you can see, I did not use his Super Trustmaster because there are better options, and I feel like because he can wear he also can wear hammers, and with the Legend of Mana banner, we are getting a super strong hammer meta for about a week or so. And Duran significantly really wants a hammer to work, but he also needs that hammer in parallel. And we don't have that yet, so the next best thing would be the fist here that we can use. I feel like And you could also make the case for a gun build, but then you'd have to, I mean, a gun build would probably also work. I just realized you could just swap out knights on the offense because we are over capping on attack anyway, and use Black Sparky on Duran. That would work certainly, and he'd probably deal a lot more or a little bit more damage, but you will see in a second that it won't matter in the grand scheme of things. So yeah, and I'm also using, which is very unlikely, but I made an exception for Duran just to showcase, even if you give him the absolute best build, he is still not relevant. So here it is. I also marked where he stands in the damage meta. I used the water team, 45 water amp, 160 water imperil in total, 25% weapon imperil. It's just not working out. He's still below Sky with her gun build on average and in total, obviously. He even is behind Oliveira. It's just not working out, right? So when you equip a gun on him, still use the water team, etc., he would still be so far behind the meta. It's just not worth it, in my opinion. So yeah, how does he fare in the meta? I mean, he suffers from very, very low base stats. He has 382 attack and Brave Shift, and that is NVA levels of stats. He is sold as a base Neo Vision, but apparently Gumi forgot to buff his base stats to Neo Vision levels, because 382, that's certainly not a full DPSer's stats. He doesn't deal any relevant damage, as you can see, even in best case scenarios, and just for comparison's sake, this is only 58% of Sephiroth's damage, the no dark field version of Sephiroth's damage. So yeah. On the flip side, if you want a unit that is very easy to gear for true double hand and 6x cap, yeah, Duran's your guy. But another thing I haven't mentioned yet, he has no emergency tanking cooldowns. Like Gabranth has one, Snow, well, he technically always has the emergency cooldown up. Afmo has one, every single tank has something to really take a hit, but he doesn't. The 150 LB damage buff in his own kit is bad, and he is a jack of all trades for many elements, but really a master of none, because we don't have very good earth amps, or earth fields I should say, that can be used well. So yeah, I feel like he's just not working out in general. So yeah, should you pull? Skip is your best play, in my opinion, unless you really, really like the unit. He doesn't bring anything new to the table that we really need. And even for the next Clash boss, which is a Dragon and Beast with Earth weakness, he isn't passable compared to the existing non-Clash of Wills units, such as Sephiroth, or especially the Clash of Wills specific units, Carton, Lara, Sky come to mind. We just can't compete with those. So you should skip. And that is the end of today's video. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see each other hopefully tomorrow. I don't know yet, but yeah, have a great rest of the Saturday morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you're from. Bye bye.